everybody, and thanks for joining me again. Welcome back to my channel, and I hope you've all had an absolutely fantastic Christmas. Now today's recipe is one that is great for between Christmas and New Year. And quite often we've got people coming over, maybe you've got a party, maybe you're just having family over for dinner, you've got a gathering of friends. This dessert is brilliant because it will serve so many people. It's really big, and it is a combination of salted caramel and Biscoff. And it is the most gorgeous, rich cheesecake, but it is so easy to make and looks really effective. So you're gonna really impress people with this one, and let me show you how to make it.
I'm going to use a food processor to crush my biscuits, but of course you can do it in a bag with a rolling pin if you need to. So let's get my scales on and open some of these gorgeous Biscoff biscuits. Now I bought mine, ones that are singly wrapped, so they come in little packets like this. Again, you can just buy a regular packet. These just happen to be a lot cheaper because they were on offer, so I thought why not get those. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to measure out 250 grams of these biscuits. It's going to take me a little while because I've got to open all these packets, but that's fine. I think this is a real showstopper for New Year's. I think this is a fabulous dessert to share with everybody. If you're having a gathering or maybe you're going to somebody's. We're actually going to a housewarming party tomorrow night. So I'm making this one day in advance just so I can ensure that it's completely set in the fridge. And I've got no last minute panics tomorrow as well. So let's get these crushed up in here. I've cut out a circle of parchment paper just so we can lay that in the bottom, and that's just going to help us get the cheesecake out later. Now I'm just going to weigh out my butter, and then we're going to pop that in the microwave to melt that, and then we're going to add that to the biscuits. So we want 100 grams of butter. Before we put in the melted butter into the crumb that we've got here, we actually want to take out 75 grams. So I'm just spooning that into my separate bowl. Now I can pour the melted butter into the biscuits. Let's give that a mix. Look how good this is. Don't worry if you think it looks slightly wet. It's always better for it to be a bit wetter. Because it's really going to firm up in the fridge. There's nothing worse when you make something and then you've got a crumbly base still. It's happened to me and it's not good. Right, now for the slightly tricky part. So what we want to do is we want to get our Biscoff biscuits and we want to layer those all the way around the edge, and we'll have the biscuit crumb in the middle. So I'm going to start by putting the crumb into the middle, because this is going to work a little bit like some concrete. So let's think about this as bricks and concrete, and we need to use this to make it really nice and solid. So let's get our first few biscuits in. So this is how we want them to look, like this. But obviously they're not going to stay on their own. So I think the best way to do this, I want them to overlap, is to just start pushing a little bit of that base towards them like this, and then keep going. It was a tiny bit fiddly, but I think I've got there in the end. It actually hasn't taken that long at all. And you want it in the fridge for probably half hour to an hour. It won't take very long for that to firm up, and you can put the cheesecake mixture straight in, or you can leave it longer if you want to. Now we're ready to make the filling for the cheesecake. So we want salted caramel sauce. Oh, look at that. Smells so gorgeous. We want 200 grams of this. So that's nearly a whole pot here. And then we want 300 grams of double cream. So let's pour that in. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna whisk this up.
Ordinarily, this would probably look a little bit over whipped. It's quite stiff and thick, but that's how we want it because we're gonna now fold in our cream cheese. So I've got 3 packets here and these are all 200 grams. You need 600 total. And it's always best to fold this in by hand. Only because cream cheese can be a little bit temperamental, and the last thing we want is for this to not stay nice and thick and actually set in the fridge. So that is the first one in. Just want to make sure that it is all combined because you don't want any sort of harsh bits of cream cheese. I think that caramel sauce is really sweet. You've got that lovely double cream. Although the cream cheese is quite sort of sharp, with all of that Biscoff that we've got in there, it's going to really balance it really nicely. Base incoming, look at that. It looks really good. I'm so pleased with how this has turned out. Now to just gently pour in the centre. So I've got around half the cheesecake mixture in here now. And what we're going to add to that is a layer of these lovely Biscoff crushed biscuits. So you can see where I'm going with this. When you slice into this, you're going to see the layers. Okay, so this looks really good. Now we're going to get some of the caramel sauce and just create a nice little drizzle in this centre. Yum, look at this. Hopefully everyone's gonna absolutely love this at the party. So really you can go to town. You can put as much as you want in. Just trying to make sure that there is definitely gonna be some sauce in the middle on every single slice that is cut. Now for our final layer, what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to splodge this on because we want to make sure that it covers all of this underneath. So now we just need to try and smooth this out so that we've got an even layer again of the cheesecake mix. Now for the last thing we're going to do before this goes in the fridge, so let's get caramel sauce all over this. I think it's just a case of quick as possible and push it so that you get an even layer. I think I'm going to leave it there because the more I do to this as it's starting to set, the worse it's going to look. That is going to go in for at least 4 hours to set. I've got some more biscuits in here, so I'm just going to blitz these up, and this is extra for the top. This has been in the fridge and it's lovely and firm and set. So now all we've got left to do is to decorate the top. I'm using a small bowl here just as a sort of template for the top. Try and get this, if I can, somewhere in the middle. Yeah, great, that looks about right. So now we need to spoon our biscuits around the outside of this. So we've got our crushed biscuits. This is purely just for lovely decoration. And now for the extra caramel in the middle. There it is. That is my Biscoff and salted caramel cheesecake. That's going to go back in the fridge and then we can uncase that once that is set. I'm actually going to leave this now overnight.